seemed like a really impressive effort from the team to lift for Tainting his final game. What did you make?
Oh yeah, it was just a great contest from go to woe. I reckon Bombers might have got out to about 15 or 16 points was the greatest margin for the whole game. I reckon, and that was with about 5 minutes to go, and then we kicked 2 quick ones to Cunners and Footy, and got within 4 or 5 points. So it was a great contest. They're 2 young sides trying to find their way. Bombers a little bit ahead of us just right at the present time, but we're proud of our effort, but we just didn't quite have the polish in important moments. We had our chances and we just couldn't convert those chances as well as the Bombers. Not so much there were some scoring chances that we didn't convert, but more the passage of play. It looked like we were out, just couldn't connect with the handball, just couldn't hit the kick that was going to be the money kick to set up the play for us, and the Bombers were just a little bit more polished in that part of the game. But outside of that, the endeavour of the 2 sides, it was a game of chess tactically in terms of trying to get the advantage from time to time, and it was a fierce contest. We just didn't quite get there.
Do you feel like the players played with the spirit of Ben today?
Yeah. Well, it was a great start for the game. He kicking the second goal of the game, and then kicking the second last goal of the game, or third last goal of the game for both sides, but second last for us. He made a contribution to the game. It was a not quite a fairy tale finish, unfortunately. It would have been great if we'd have been able to kick the last goal of the game instead of the Bombers, and if that would have been the case, we would have got the points, and would have been a real fitting finale to what's been a fabulous career for the Kangaroos. And he's been a great player. He's been able to contribute enormously on the field, but through the hardship he's had to confront, he's been a great role model for others in terms of coping with hardship, and he's going to retire a really, really decorated player of our footy club as a result of that. But for what he's done on the field, but also what he's done off the field, which is a real credit to him.
Jack Siebel was really impressive in defence times today as well. Do you think there's, with him on the way out as well in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to sustain that sort of intensity over the next couple of weeks?
Well, we hope so. We've got the Tigers next week. That'll be Jack's last game for the footy club. MCG, I reckon there'll be a fair crowd coming because it's a Richmond home game. Koch is playing his final MCG game, so I'd reckon the Tiger Army will be out in force, which will be great for us. We want to play in big crowds. We know that it'll be a black and yellow dominated crowd next week, but we want our North fans to get out there. We only play at the MCG a couple of times a year, and this is another one of those chances. And if you want to play in big games, and we're nowhere near the capacity at the minute to be able to challenge to playing in finals, but for us it's like a final next week. It's just like big crowd, big opponent, and for our guys where they are right now, they need to learn how to play in those big games, and we did pretty well. We hung in there, but just in the last quarter when we really needed to take those chances late in the game, whether it was fatigue or whatever it was, we just didn't take those chances as best we could. Whether it was a sloppy kick or a missed handball or drop mark, you need to. Some of those things that were happening early in the game, we were taking them cleanly. We didn't do it later in the game, and that's what good sides do. They know that they can sustain that for 4 quarters, and we're not quite there yet. But we get another chance next week against Richmond, and big stage, big opponent, and we get another chance to see if we can sustain it. We played Melbourne last week. We did really well for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, and then we fell away against a really good opponent. We were able to sustain it for a lot longer against the Bombers this week, and our challenge is to lick our wounds, look at the things we did well, the things we didn't do so well this week, and learn from it and get ourselves going for the Tigers next week.
How do you see Nick Larkey's development as a player? I mean, 50 or 60 goals in a team that hasn't had that much success. Do you feel like he's really close to being the complete key forward?
Yeah, he's continuing to grow as a player. He's taken a step forward, not just in terms of his capacity on field, but his leadership off it and in and around the club. And we need that band of players to, as the Cunningtons and the Zeebles and these sorts of guys retire, the next band of players around that 24, 25, 26 years of age, the Simpkins and the Larkies and the David Uniacke's and those type of guys. The Zerhas there, they're the leadership of the club. It's now the baton's been passed effectively with the moving on to some of these older players that have been stalwarts of the footy club, and the next generation, it's turned for them to write their chapter for the footy club, and Nick Larkey is a big part of that, and I feel like he's taken some significant steps forward, and part of that is on field. He's been, as you said, able to kick. I think he's over 50 goals for the season is a really good performance, but we've got a couple of games to go. It's been disappointing that Charlie hurt his leg about round 7 or 8, I think, against Melbourne. Has missed the rest of the year. He needs some support down there. There's not a good side in the competition that's just got one dangerous forward. We need more danger down there, whether that's at ground level or it's aerial supremacy. And at the minute, Nick's having to do a lot of that bulky type of work just all on his own. If you've got more threats down there, that's going to help him and it's going to help us, and that's what we'll be searching for. But from what he's been able to do, he's continued to take steps forward for us.
Just on Josh Simpkin, he seemed to play out the game with a bit of a dead arm after picking up the injury. Do you think you'll have him next week?
Yeah, I think so. The fact that usually most injuries are pretty obvious what's going to happen for the following week. If they go off the ground and they can't return, they're in a bit of doubt for the next week. And if they go off the ground and they do return, it's a pretty good sign that they're going to be okay for the next week. So that's what we're hoping with Jai. He got a knock and battled on gamely. We had Arch went off the ground in the third quarter, and Steve-O did too, and it just sort of mucked around our structure a little bit there for a short period of time in the third quarter. We just lost a little bit of the control of the game in that period of time. So that was unfortunate, but Arch was able to return to the game. So was Steve-O, and so was Jai. So that was pleasing that they were able to finish the game. Good on you guys. Thank you. Cheers.